After a month away from training in Japan, I returned home to find, to my shock, that my house had disappeared and a different house stood in its place. I called my husband Thomas in a panic. "Hello, Thomas? I'm back from Japan, standing in front of where our house used to be, but there's a new house here now." Thomas answered with his usual nonchalance. "Oh, Ashley, you're back. Welcome home." I snapped back, frustration clear in my voice. "What are you being so laid back about?" In stark contrast to my alarm, Thomas remained relaxed. "Don't worry so much. It's Ashley's house, so come on in and relax." My name is Ashley, a scientist engrossed in research at a university science lab. Keeping pace with and often surpassing my male colleagues, I'm currently embarking on a new project. Exhausted from overtime, I return home and say, "I'm home." To which Thomas nonchalantly responds, "Welcome back. You're late again today. What's time's dinner? I've been waiting, starving." Angered by Thomas' thoughtless words, I retort, "You could have cooked yourself, knowing how busy I am. You know I'm tired, right?" Thomas, sprawled on the sofa, fires back, "Hey, I work too. I'm tired as well." I live in a house with my husband, Thomas. His workplace is a factory just 5 minutes from home. He works 9 to 5 and earns about half of what I do. He's home more than I am, but never lifts a finger to help with housework. I find myself repeating a familiar plea. "Hey, Thomas, since you're home early, it would really help if you could do a bit of shopping or cooking." Thomas repeats his usual response. "I'm not doing that. That's the wife's job." I persist in arguing. "What if I couldn't do it anymore? What if I wasn't here?" Then Thomas casually retorted, "Ashley, you're healthy. You can handle the chores. We're married after all. We've been living together for so long. It's going to be fine. Plus, I don't even know how to do housework. The one who can should do it." I was a bit exasperated. "I can teach you if you don't know. Even a little help would be great. We're both earning, so it's only fair we share the household duties." Thomas said the last thing I wanted to hear. "It's embarrassing for a man to do housework." It was a dead-end conversation. Reluctantly, I started to prepare dinner. No matter what I asked, he wouldn't lift a finger. I felt stressed every day, almost resigned that talking to Thomas was useless. Then one day at the lab, my professor gave me exhilarating news. "For the upcoming training in Japan, I've recommended you. The university's top brass unanimously chose you. So we're all expecting great results." What an opportunity. The training was for a month, starting in 10 days. But instantly, I felt worried. Leaving Thomas alone for a month? But there's still 10 days to teach him some housework. And I have to succeed in this training. The university leaders are counting on me. I accepted the trip to Japan and returned home. Upon hearing the news, Thomas was as usual carefree. "Wow, that's amazing. You'll be fine, Ashley. Go for it." He didn't get it, I explained. "Thomas, you'll be alone here for a month. You need to handle the housework." Finally, it seemed to sink in. "Oh, I see. That's a problem." Trying to reassure him, I hurriedly said, "But there's still 10 days before I leave. I'll teach you. So don't worry, and you can always contact me. I can even guide you from Japan." Thomas pondered for a while and then had an idea. Oh, I know. Let's get Mom to come over. She can do a lot for us. Problem solved." I resisted his worst suggestion, yet it's too much for your mom to come over for a whole month. But Thomas was unfazed. "Her place is closed and Mom would be happy to help. Better get on it quickly." And with that, Thomas was already calling my mother-in-law, Sophia. Despite my slight hope that Thomas would understand my struggles and start helping with chores during my 1-month absence, he completely disappointed me. With only 3 days left before departure, I was busy with preparations. One morning, the doorbell rang, and there stood Sophia saying, "Long time no see, Ashley." Thomas hurriedly welcomed her. "Oh, Mom! Come in, come in!" I hastily followed Thomas and asked why Sophia had come so early before my departure. "I thought it'd be better to have her come earlier, so I called her. Smart, right?" Surveying the house, Sophia remarked, "Leaving Thomas alone for a month, Ashley? That's a bit concerning. But don't worry, I'm here now. I'll make sure to check if your housekeeping is up to par." Sophia moved into our house even before I left. She always sided with Thomas and often made snide remarks at me, which I honestly tried to avoid. My heart sank, anticipating more of her comments. And sure enough, she started criticizing me right away. "Ashley, you need to organize this fridge better. It's inefficient like this. I'll fix this. How can anyone cook anything tasty in this state? And look at this dust. Are you only vacuuming? You should be wiping down the floors every day." "I can do that with my busy work schedule," I explained. "I can only do thorough cleaning on my days off." But she was unsympathetic. "That's no excuse. You need to be more responsible. Oh, is soup your usual dinner? The taste is quite strong." Thomas likes bread and eats it often. He asks for stronger flavors to go well with the bread. "If you made more dishes, it would be better. You should take the time to prepare a variety of dishes. I can't believe you've been living like this. I'll have to teach you housekeeping from scratch." Every day, exhausted from work, I had to endure her lectures. I do try my best with housework, but it's tough when it's not shared. If only Thomas would help a bit. Her response was as expected. "What are you saying? Housework is a woman's job. You need to fulfill your duties as a wife. Ashley, your way of thinking is wrong. Don't worry, I'll teach you." Thomas, hearing this exchange, commented, "Ashley's lucky to learn so much from you. We should have had you come earlier. The house is cleaner and we have more dishes now. Maybe Mom should just move in with us." I was absolutely against the idea of living with Sophia, as it would be like living in hell every day. Finally, the day of my departure arrived. As Thomas was seeing me off, he said, "It will be lonely without you, but don't worry, Mom is here." I couldn't help but urge him, "Don't rely too much on Sophia. Try to do things by yourself." But Sophia interjected, "Oh, don't worry about that. I'm here, so Thomas won't have any problems." I left the house, suppressing my desire to argue. Though I was relieved to escape Sophia's presence, an uneasy feeling lingered. I had to focus and do well. Sophia would only be there for a month, and then things would go back to normal. With this thought, I felt more positive and headed to the airport with a light step. Meanwhile, Sophia was pampering Thomas. "Thomas, I've cleaned your room. Ashley never did it properly. Oh, and I'm making pot of food tonight." Thomas, lounging on the sofa as usual, cheered. "Pot of food, huh? Sounds delicious. Oh, did you polish my leather shoes?" "Of course, Thomas. You don't have to worry about anything." Unbeknownst to me, since the day I left, Thomas hadn't lifted a finger to help with the housework, leaving everything to Sophia. Worried about Thomas, I often called him. "Hello, Thomas. How are you? Is everything okay? Are you helping out?" Thomas' carefree voice came through. "Hey, Ashley, you sound good. Everything's fine here. I don't need to help out. Mom's taking care of everything. Don't worry about us here. Just focus on your work." The calls were always like this. Thomas had Sophia do everything, and she seemed happy to oblige. Thomas, come quick! I tripped over the steps in this house, and there's not enough storage. It's hard to keep things organized. From day one, Sophia complained to Thomas about the inconveniences of our house. Thomas took her words at face value. Ashley was fine with it, but if Mom says it's inconvenient, maybe it is. Is the house that bad? Sophia seized the opportunity. Yes, it's full of inconveniences. The toilet is only on the first floor, and imagine how hard it will be as we get older. And if we have children, navigating these steps while holding a baby would be a nightmare. Thomas seemed shocked by her words. Seeing his reaction, Sophia continued. We should consider rebuilding or at least renovating. We can't live here long. Well, rebuilding might be too much, but an extension is doable, right? Thomas' face brightened. Yeah, maybe a renovation is possible. Hey, I just had a great idea. If we renovate and add more rooms, you could move in and live with us. Sophia clapped her hands in delight. Well, that's wonderful. Let's do that. But what will Ashley say? The house was purchased in my name when we first got married because Thomas' income wasn't enough for a loan. I had a high income back then. Thomas had repeatedly suggested living with his mother, but I had firmly refused. However, my feelings seem irrelevant to these two now. Don't worry, once it's done, Ashley will see how much more comfortable the house is. She'll agree. Plus, having you here will be a big help with child rearing. She'll understand that living together is better. Sophia's concern was about the money. Will Ashley pay for the entire renovation? Thomas answered confidently. Of course. It's Ashley's house. She'll pay. Ashley will be happy to do it for our future kids. Leave it to me, Mom. You don't need to worry. Hearing this, Sophia hopped around excitedly. That's my reliable Thomas. A son to be proud of. I'm such a lucky mother. Then I'll leave that part to you, Thomas, and start looking for a renovation company. And so, when I returned from my training in Japan after a month, I found my house replaced with an unfamiliar one. Confused, I called Thomas, who calmly told me to come in quickly. Heart pounding, I opened the brand new door, and Thomas emerged from inside like it was his own house. Thomas, what is this? Explain! Thomas and Sophia, smiling, guided me into the living room. Ashley, you must be tired. Calm down. I know you're surprised. Here, sit down. Have some coffee and let's talk. I collapsed onto the sofa, exhausted. Then Thomas dropped a bombshell. He had remodeled the house, adding rooms for Sophia to live with us. Hearing this, I was shocked. How could you do this without consulting me? My voice trembled with emotion. Thomas seemed oblivious to my distress. You were busy in Japan. Couldn't consult you. So we decided everything here. Made the house really functional. Thought it would be a nice surprise for you. Surprised I was, but not at all pleased. Clenching my fists in frustration, Sophia casually remarked, Maybe we surprised you too much. You'll settle down soon and it'll be more comfortable. Anyway, I'm looking forward to living here with you, Ashley. Oh, are you upset about living with me? Struggling to keep my composure, I responded. No, it's not that. I'm just shocked that there was no consultation with me. This is too presumptuous. Thomas patted my shoulder. With Mom here, you can go to work without worries, right? It's all good, right, Mom? Sophia, grinning widely, added, That's right. Ashley will have an easier time and can focus more on work. And there's still so much about housekeeping I need to teach her. Oh, I can't wait. They were both only thinking of themselves. This renovation wasn't for me. It was for them. All this happened just because I was away for a month. My anger was about to burst when Thomas made it worse. Oh, and about the renovation cost. It's $100,000. Ashley, can you handle the payment? It's your house after all. I was shocked, nearly falling off the sofa. Why should I pay? It was renovated without my consent. Thomas should pay for it. Thomas replied nonchalantly. You know, I don't have that kind of money. You have a high income, right? You must have savings. Plus, it's a renovation for you, so it shouldn't be a problem for you to pay. I couldn't believe my husband's audacity. I shot back. You did the renovation without consulting me. It's your doing, not mine. I prefer the house the way it was. I don't want to pay for this. While we argued, Sophia gleefully said, Ah, it's turned into such a comfortable house. I'm so happy to live here forever. She looked down at me with a smirk. I was speechless, not just with anger, but also astonishment at their audacity. After taking a few deep breaths, I began to think clearly and made up my mind. Thomas, you say this house is mine, but have you forgotten? It's actually your house now. Remember? After we bought it, you said living in a house under your wife's name was embarrassing. So, I transferred the ownership to you. I'd been paying the mortgage and everything, so maybe you thought it was still mine? Remember, this house is under your name. It's your house. I have no obligation to pay for the renovation. Thomas's face turned pale. Oh, now that you mention it. He started pacing the room in a fluster. Thomas, is that true? You're kidding, right? Sophia looked shaken, almost collapsing to the floor. But what they did to me was far worse. They brought it upon themselves. So, that's how it is. I won't pay. And I want a divorce, Thomas. The word divorce shocked both Thomas and Sophia. I began pouring out everything I had been holding back. This is something I've been considering for a long time. I've reached my limit. You always return home earlier than me, yet all you do is watch TV and don't lift a finger to help with housework. They tried to interrupt in panic. That's not a man's job. That's right. Housework is a woman's duty. Typical responses from them. I continued, undeterred. If I were a housewife living off your income, I would have gladly done all the housework. But we are a dual income couple, right? If you were earning more and had a tougher job, I wouldn't mind doing more housework. But how is it really? I earn more, yet you push all the housework onto me. Isn't that unfair? Thomas retorted confidently. But I can help it. I've never done it before. I don't know how. Even now, he still said that. I've offered to teach you countless times. You never had the intention to help. Not even a gesture of willingness. And about the living together, the renovation, deciding everything without consulting me? Can that be called a marriage? Just because I was in Japan doesn't make it right. I could have been consulted even from Japan and finishing everything while I'm away and then asking me to pay for it? Thomas's face grew paler. The renovation was done considering Ashley too. Ashley has responsibilities as well. He was making no sense. I was at my boiling point. Considering me? How is any part of this house for me? It's a renovation for you and Sophia, isn't it? For Sophia and Thomas to live here comfortably. Seeing me furious, Sophia interjected. Ashley, let's calm down and talk this out calmly. The three of us. If we discuss it, we'll understand each other. It's too late for that now. We should have had this discussion before the renovation, right? Talking now is pointless. I've already made up my mind. I'm done dealing with both of you. I'll pack my things and leave. You two can figure out the rest. Thomas, in tears, followed me. Please, Ashley, don't go. I stayed at a friend's house for a few days until I found a new place. It's right to leave him. You've been patient and hardworking. Rest now. You need to live your life in a way that makes you happy. After hearing my story, saying that, she encouraged me. Thomas kept contacting me daily, hoping I would return. Please, Ashley, come back. I'm nothing without you. Such selfishness. He'll never change. The divorce papers should be arriving today. Once you've signed, submit them. What papers? The divorce application. Take care. Thomas screamed over the phone. I won't divorce. He refused to submit the papers. Eventually, I had to go to court, hiring a skilled lawyer. I won the case, and the divorce was finalized. After the trial, Thomas begged, Please, reconsider. I'll change everything about me, I promise. His lies were unbelievable. You never change, and you never will. Do you seriously think I would return to that house to live with Sophia? That's never going to happen. We are divorced. I don't want anything to do with you. Goodbye. I walked away, leaving Thomas behind. Ashley, don't go. Please, don't abandon me. Ultimately, Thomas couldn't pay the $100,000. He tried to sell the house to get cash, but it was unsellable. The rushed construction led to many shortcuts, resulting in rapid deterioration in a shabby home. With Thomas's small earnings and Sophia's pension, they are paying a long-term loan of $100,000 for the shabby house. It's all your fault, you idiot son. You ruined everything for retirement, Sophia yelled. The sound of them stomping on the floor can be heard. Don't blame me. It was your idea, Mom. Thomas argued back. They constantly fought loudly, disturbing the neighborhood. But that was no longer my concern. I was free from my useless ex-husband and the malicious Sophia. I'm starting a new life in a different world, one without them. I'm going out for dinner with a Korean man I met during my training in Japan. He is respectful and caring, and I'm confident we can have a good relationship. After all the hardships, I finally feel happy.